Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the district's Board of Directors to be held at 105 Fort Road, Port Isabel, Texas on September 13th at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for the consideration of the business of the agenda below. The notice is posted at the office of the district on September 7th, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of said meeting. I call the meeting to order. We have Mr. Bowder, Mr. Donahue, Mr. Starkey, myself present. Mr. Friedman was not here with notice. We'll rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, bless this day, and please grant us rain to sufficiently fill the Falcon and Army Flood Reservoir system, that we may more confidently meet water supply needs for the district and agriculture throughout the Rio Grande Valley. Say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Do we have any public comments today? Item 3. Very good. Item 4, discuss and consider for possible approval the minutes of the regular meeting from August 23rd.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Starkey. Second by Mr. Bowder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. General Manager's report, item 5.
Yes, sir. Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, I do have a paper that I left up there for the reservoir levels combined. And since the 6th of August, it's been 30 days already within that mark of the low levels combined, and now started at 25 on August the 6th. And September 6th, it was below 25 for 30 days already. So right now we have 23.4% combined total homicide calculated. So in saying this, the next bullet that I have in there, we have to start our drought management plan. We have to do away with stage 2 and go into stage 3 and activate that one. And send out the memos to all the customers that we post it on the website, media first. We have to send it out to them also. And I think I left a copy of that one up there for you guys to see. So let me get the rest of it. That's okay. But yes, we need to activate stage 3 already. And, we send out the notice. Yeah, that's the notice right there.
Yeah, we have it. Thank you.
Yes. So that, the front is the English part version, and the back side is a Spanish version. That's all I have. Any questions on part of that?
Yeah, is there any way you could reach out to the city of South Padre and talk to somebody at Public Works about not watering their big green space in the middle of the day?
Oh, we'll make sure of that.
Yeah, just, I mean, even if we're not in that stage, it's just looks better if you're not rolling by and it's 105 in the water.
Fourth quarter we are. Yeah,
Thank you.
but I got you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else?
Pray for water.
Do we have any water in the forecast?
For Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it looks like we do.
Cool.
Planting season.
White wing? Wouldn't be white wing if it wasn't raining.
Yeah, so it usually rains in September, and I'm hoping it rains more. That's what we have on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not a whole lot, but something.
Okay. It's raining up. It's raining across Texas today. Hopefully it rains more. So that's pretty low, huh?
Yes, it
For
is.
this time of year. Yeah. Good thing we're doing a desalinization plant. Let's get going. I don't know if we'll have it soon enough.
And we do have Charles will bring it up, but we do have a extraordinary board meeting tomorrow in Harlingen.
Great.
So we can express our concerns with that and the project and
Lobbying. I like it. Thank you. All right.
Okay, great. Thank you. Nothing else? Director of Operations report, item 6.
Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. I apologize, the report that you have in your package is last month's report. I inadvertently gave it back to Daisy and she put it in there. But I did leave a copy of the report there on top of the, right there on the top. So anyway, the monthly report for August compared to July, it did increase by 24 calls, service orders. The increases affected in the group of customer service and distribution. As far as the job codes were concerned, there were quite a few that were affected, but the net effect was 24 overall. In the collections part, that also increased by 15 call-out service calls, and that was the increase was in the collections area, and most of it was in the preventive maintenance. And again, there were some ups and downs and other jobs that were done, but the net effect were 15. And then pre-treatment and lift stations, that was pretty much the same from July and August. It increased by 3, and most of that was in troubleshooting lift station pumps. There were 2. That concludes the report for.
How's our meter situation doing that we talked about, at our budget meeting? We talked about several different things, if you recall.
If you don't mind, I think Eddie has a report on that.
Eddie was gonna bring that up.
Great, we can hold on till later then.
Yeah, I did want to mention one other thing concerning the group. There's a group of us, which includes Eddie, Tavo, Noe, Becky, myself, and who else is that? Oh, Luis Nava, distribution manager. We've been talking to several meter companies, Campstruck, and we've been talking to Badger, and we've been talking to Mueller. We still having problems with the meters, as you can see. The increase in meters that were changed for August increased by 25, so a total of 84 that were changed out during August. So we're still having problems with them. The biggest problem is production, but we did express our concern and loss of revenue, loss of water, which equates to loss of revenue. And then on the other side of that is also the loss of man hours that we're having to put into these and trying to get with these meters. So, excuse me, they got an earful this last time, this gentleman that came down. So he's going to take all these concerns that we expressed to him back to his boss, and he's going to see what they can do for us.
Did we have a date by which he will see what he can do for us?
He said about 2 to 3 weeks.
Let's put it in the schedule, Carlos, that if we don't have some sort of follow-up on this, I think we got to have a conversation with Brian about our next steps.
Talked to Dean Cox on that part.
Great.
And that was something else that Eddie did tell him that we needed to know as soon as they could, because otherwise we were going to have to seek some other avenue.
Just for our other board members who weren't at that meeting, we're having significant problems with the new meters we put in. It's taking up a ton of time, possibly losing a bunch of water through it, more than we should. So if we have to.
The brand new, the automated ones?
Yeah.
We gotta do something about it, that may be the next step. So I just think that should be a follow-up by the end of October.
Yeah, we went into contract with Mueller back in 2018 for $2.5 million. We still owe $1.5 million on them, so.
We still owe?
Yes, sir. It was we took out a loan with the.
We owe the loan, or we owe the loan?
No,
We owe the
the
loan,
loan.
right? But that company's been paid in full.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No. If it was a company, we would have stopped paying them.
Producing meters as well.
That's exactly.
Up here freaking. Exactly.
Okay, all set?
Yes, sir.
That's your report, all done?
Yes, sir.
Item 7, consider and discuss for possible approval of ratification of payment for the Isla Blanca sewer plant generator that burnt out during a storm on May 9th, 23.
I brought this to the board, back on May when we had this issue. We had that thunderstorm, the generator there at the Risa Blanca burned out, and we needed to get it fixed right away. So we started working on that. We didn't have time really to go out for bids formally, but we did get some quotes from a couple other companies, and the best that we could come up with that we got at that point was $35,500. That generator's been fixed. We also had an expense of about $1,200 where we took the old generator that we have at the warehouse and set it up at the Isla Blanca because we were required to have a generator as a backup at the plants. And so we had that generator retrofitted, and we had to pay that electrician, the technician rather, to come in and change the voltage on that generator. We have gotten that generator back, the new one. We have to buy one. This new portion of the generator that we have to pay for $35,000. So it's been fixed and it's up and running again.
That's an action item, the ratification, correct?
Yes, correct, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 8, District Engineer's Report.
I like it. We're jogging up to the mic.
Yeah, get ready. All right, so just to start off here, our first item for discussions, the Texas Water Development Board meeting. It's scheduled tomorrow, September 14th, 9:30 a.m. at Harlingen City Hall.
What's our game plan there? What do we hope to achieve?
Well, I mean, we're gonna get a board commitment for this loan that's kind of the carryover for this tax bond. And then also, we're gonna be, the first item is presentation by local leaders of regional water projects, plans, and issues. And that's where Carlos Lavon is gonna talk about the seawater and just to let them know, how serious we are with the project.
Right, our full project is a disaster. That's what I need to emphasize.
And who's our audience there?
There's 3 board members appointed by the governor. Right, so it's 3 board members that are with Texas Water Development Board. That's the entire board is 3 members appointed by the governor, and they'll be their meetings usually held in Austin, but every once in a while they'll move their meetings throughout the state. So this one tomorrow is going to be here in Harlingen.
We feel like we're ready?
We're ready, we did a presentation to TCQ about 2-3 months ago.
Yes.
And similar to that, and I'll be doing the presentation.
Have you met the board members before? You personally?
Not the water development board, but I know a few of them employees that.
I'm trying to look past you, Charles.
Yeah.
Are these guys that you lobby as well and have relationships with to help move this along, or is that's not in the purview of what they do?
One of the reason they're here in the valley, which is unusual for them to have their meeting, they're always, well, not always, probably every 6 months they'll go around the state where there's projects. It has to be your project, and Arlington has a project. So they have probably $30, $35, $40 million worth of projects in the valley. So I flew up with them on the plane today, and they were all going different directions, different meetings today and then in the morning. So I know the chairman, and then one of the new board members was the chairman of the TCQ, and she was appointed recently by the governor. So I think it's really a big deal. It's getting your project. You want to get notoriety on your project when you go, because they're going to be handling the funds of this $1 billion if it passes in November.
Yeah.
And you want them, oh, yeah, I remember them. And I talked to a couple, the engineer that's in charge of this region, and I was telling a little bit about the project that, so we've been dealing with her for, gosh, as long as it's been in existence. But I think it's good. Kyle and I said, why don't we get this presentation to them so that it starts the ball rolling. And then, project, when the name comes up, and they say, oh yeah, I know that project. And so it's not like you lobby them to get them to give you the money. But, you know, everything as I get my report's part engineering and the other is part, a lot of happenings in September for this project around, you know, talk about Charles' appointment and different things.
A lot of relationship building.
Absolutely.
Is it something we reach out to the governor's office on? Like, you know, talk to the staff on something like this, or not at this point, or where?
I think eventually, and I think Kyle's the person to do that.
Is he our lobbyist?
Yes.
Okay. I assume he has good contacts with their staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we hired a guy who has those contacts.
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I mean, that's the whole point.
What's the point of paying him 30 grand, right, or whatever we're paying him? He better have them on himself. Otherwise, we should reach out in other ways to that. Okay. Just check.
Which is the rest of the PowerPoint?
Sure, are you done?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you, I was at a meeting, where Governor Abbott was there. He kind of had like a closed door meeting with a couple other people. The main topic was water, so I know how serious it is. This was kind of up valley, a little ways, but I think it's definitely high on his radar. So if we had to go to his office, I think that just to move this project all the way to the top. I mean, this is a place where he probably wouldn't mind getting a little bit more face time down here in the valley, you know, which isn't necessarily always his strongest place. So
That's true.
you know, we got to invite him down to something. Yeah. Anyways, that's
Yeah.
it. Just throwing that out.
I
yeah,
agree
well,
with that.
yeah, definitely. Well, especially tomorrow, we have a meeting where item 10, you know, we're starting this $12.98 million commitment for the surface water. That's almost an initial phase for the seawater to tack on with it. So, I'm serious.
Kyle, what's his last name? Frazier. Kyle Frazier. Was he here? Didn't he present? I think I missed it.
No, I think you missed it, but,
Yeah.
I do have a report from him,
Okay.
I left it on top of you. We got the meeting.
Okay. Good. Thanks. Sorry for quizzing you on the spot.
Oh, that's all right. I do better on my feet.
All right, Charles, go back to him.
We'll go check this here.
Okay, so you should have a handout that has, this is more detailed than the presentation. And go ahead and go to the next one and just kind of talk about the project status. We have completed the discharge permit application, which is probably one of your longest lead time items of getting approval. So if we get that into the TCQ, with hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have it reviewed internally and the district. So there's another permit is getting water rights. You have to get approval to pull the water out, even though it's unlimited, but you still have to get approval to do that. And that's really it related a lot to how you pull it out, you know, how you, and I'll get into a couple of things at the end of the presentation on, you've got to make sure you don't impinge or entrap the marine life. And so that's a big deal. So if anything slows down your project, it's going to be the intake and the discharge. So that's why we spend some time addressing the issues that are present. So I'd refer to your handout, looking at the different things, and Charles mentioned a couple things. So Texas Desal Association update, I hope that, I know that we've got a lot of the staff going and maybe the chairman's going to El Paso. And I attached an agenda. There's a lot of information there. If you want to go out there, it's going to be quite interesting. And it's a nice plant to go see it. It's both the largest plant in Texas in the Northern Hemisphere, 27 million gallons a day. However, Brownsville treats more water than they do. They treat about 5 million gallons a day, even though it's 27. Here in Brownsville, they treat more like about 6 to 7 million gallons a day on average. Texas Desal Association update, the conference. Charles Ortiz was appointed to the board, so we made sure that Charles got on
Nice.
right in the thick of things. And then I've got him presenting desal projects on the horizon. So that's all the desal people, a lot of government officials there in El Paso. And then legislation's passed. We're waiting for November, and I think that's in Kyle's report. And we've already talked about the meeting in Harlingen that Carlos is going to present at. One thing next week, which is probably as important as anything, is Texas Desal is sponsoring a table for the Rainmaker of the Year Award, which goes to Charles Perry and Tracy King, the head of both the Senate and the House Representatives. And that's put on by the Texas Water Foundation. So Charles is going to sit at the table with me and others. And what's really good too is we invited Janie Lopez, your state rep, to sit at the table as well. So we'll have a table of 10 of our board members and special guests. So along with that, Charles and I are going to meet with the regional director of the Bureau of Reclamation for potential funding, because they have a lot of different programs. So we're going to see where we can stick our finger into. So if you want to let's go to the next slide. And I promise to be brief. I'm over my 1 minute, but anyway, as we hone in on the project, we get a little bit more and more detail. This happens to show the location of various facilities. The yellow line there is our concentrate discharge going to an existing green line, which is your wastewater plant discharge. So we're looking at combining those two, and we're going through the hydraulic calculation to make sure that we're not overbearing that line. And so that's kind of the last piece that we have to do to look at the permit on discharge. So if we go to the next one, and I won't go spend a lot of time, this is my simple thoughts of bringing water into. So if you go into the turning basin, you allow the water. This happens to be an example of a sand gravel filter bed that would be located off channel. It allows just the water to slowly seep down and filter, which cleans the water up. That's one option. And the next one, so there's what we call wedge wire, and that's what a lot of people use to bring it in. But there's a lot of issues with wedge wire out if we can't put it out in the turning basin because the ships go by. So we need to bring that in, and that would be closer to for maintenance, because barnacles grow on those things and they put out air scour, and so it's a maintenance issue when you have anything marine underwater, even the highest grade stainless steel. So that's another option. And just if you go to the next one, this happens to be one. I'm trying to think where this one was, where you can see how big that screen is, and you have to have it big enough to where the velocity goes there. So slow a fish can swim by without being sucked against the screen. And so the more you pump, the bigger it is, because you got to make sure, and those things aren't cheap. And the next one, this happens to be Carlsbad, and it's also one similar to what we did in Corpus Christi for a plastics plant that an Italian company put in. And it's got a series of screens. Everything, I would love to do something less mechanical. The less mechanical you can do in marine environment, the better off you'll be. So those are just touching on when we get to the full design. There's going to be a lot of detailed design and different aspects for that.
What's the problem with the sand and gravel filter?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
So you don't have to change it out, drudge it?
So what you'd have to do, the way I would look at doing it is you would have it narrow enough where you would actually take a clamshell, remove the upper surface, take the crust off. Maybe you would have dual ones, so you could take one out of service, drain it down, and then you could possibly even get a bobcat and just skim it off and then put more on there.
So you would hedge this, you would hedge it into 2 or 3 so that you could, all right.
That's the thought behind that. I would like to pilot that,
Yeah. That saves us money, and it sounds like it's more friendly for marine life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the gentle filter. It's a rough filter, not like you have at your water treatment plant where you've got to meet criteria.
As demand increases, though,
yeah, we designed
the manner of which
you're going to build
slowly,
it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the ultimate size of the plant is 5 MGD, you might build it for the 10 or 11, which is how much you'd have water you'd have to bring in, and whether you do 2 bays or 3 bays,
okay.
or we see how much money. We don't know how much money you know, all this is going to
Of course.
cost and how much you're going to get.
But we can save some here, it
Right.
looks like.
I think you could save some money in your treatment.
And when you say slow, right, I think of water slowly getting to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And so as demand
It's a slow, I
increases,
should call it a slow rate. In other words, it's not gonna just,
it's not going to inhibit our
Delays,
ability
yeah.
to produce 5 MGDs when we get to that stage, correct?
it'll be slow in size for that capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Do they have a version of that that goes from there to a lower step to a lower step? We've used that in irrigation in the past, you know, where, you know,
Yeah.
it steps down and then it's 3 times cleaner at the.
Right, so you have the same thing with your raw water delivery system. So
Mhm.
we designed that to pump into the intermediate channel to where you've got a sedimentation, then it spills over to where by the time it gets here, you've got pretty clear water,
Mhm.
except for whatever grows in between and the algae and stuff that comes in. But the sediment, I don't know, how often do you have to clean that sediment pond out in, at District 17? Have you ever done it?
We clean this, let's do one that's
No?
or, yeah, or, I don't know. How often do we clean this for, like, 3 weeks later?
Oh, we haven't seen.
So you catch it all before it gets there.
Got it.
That's kind of what this is.
Yeah, didn't want to bog us down, sorry.
Sounds
That's
like
okay.
that's a project we should consider.
So, anyway, any questions? Try to
No.
Run through it. But I'd love to see you out in El Paso. There's some good food in El Paso.
I got a question. What do we gotta worry about federal wise? You know, like at the end of this, is everything we're doing state stuff, and at the end, somebody gets the EPA to come in and they shut the whole project down for 3 years?
So in the seawater project discharge permit, EPA will be involved.
That would be the benefit.
Is there any, like, I assume because you've done this, you're looking for all the things that could be roadblocks at the end and get
So,
it first?
If you were here, we did, 11 years ago, we did the Texas Desal project, which was funded by the Water Development Board. And what it is, brought in all the stakeholders, local, state, and federal. What are your issues? Most of them are the intake and the discharge.
Right. As far as potential roadblocks on the discharge, we have that model that's ongoing with the Corps of Engineers. And so right now, you know, we're looking with a true regulatory analysis level of, you know, what's happening with the discharge, the boom, making sure we're getting dilution within the streams that would be our major roadblocks. So, I mean, we're at the tail end of that study just to demonstrate that we'll be able to meet the requirements.
So that could be attached, be a part of the report of the permit, and like setting up meetings with the different agencies. We'll be meeting probably with EPA, TCQ, Fish and Wildlife, and before it ever hits the street.
We're gonna have a question.
That's all I got.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, that concludes the.
We're good, yeah.
Are you done, your report?
It's time to start approving stuff.
9, consider and discuss for possible approval of the Southern Trenchless quote 23042241 to clean and televise sanitary sewer lines in Long Island Village.
Right, so this is an item that was coordinated through Signal Western Greenwood. Their design is ongoing, trying to keep the project in budget. And part of the way we're gonna get there is looking at some of the existing sewer lines in place and televise them, see if we can do point repairs rather than full replacement. So this request is to start televising some of those lines, requesting $14,883. And it'll be coming out of the existing budget we have for the Long Island Village.
Effort to stay in budget, motion to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 10, Director of Finance report.
Give the board a investment update for the investment activity that we had in August. We had 4 CDs that came up for maturity in August. We did a solicitation. 8 banks responded with very competitive rates, and we placed the CDs with. We did 9 months with East West Bank at 560. Veritex, we did 2 CDs, 12 months at 550. And we did another one for 15 months with Veritex at 555.
What's our longest dated CD?
We did 15. The 15 is the longest that we do. By policy, we can go up to 24 months, but we've traditionally stayed right around 12 months.
Okay, you may want to consider longer dated ones in the coming months, just on the off chance the country goes into recession and then they have to stimulate the economy by lowering rates again. It's just, that's a magic. Can you hit the sweet spot of before they start lowering rates, right? So anyways, something to consider.
Yeah, the rates are paying better in the short term, but yes, we'll explore that going longer. Right now, we've recently started doing 15 months, and we can explore going out further.
Just explore it. Don't take that as my suggestion.
Yes, I'll discuss it with our investment advisors. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, great. You all set?
Yes.
Good. Item 11, consider and discuss possible approval of financial reports for June 23.
So just want to direct you to the revenue page and look at water and wastewater services. So this is the vast majority of our revenue comes from water and wastewater bills. And so those are those first two lines that are summarized there on that page. Versus last year, water services were 1.9% and wastewater 4.2%. Now, considering that we raised rates last year, this is below expectations. So going back to what the discussion with Robert about the meters. So we have had some meters that have turned up dead, and these are solid state digital registers. And when they turn up dead, they're not recording the water loss. So the register is the part that records the water that's going through them. So this is in the customer's favor, but it's leading to water loss, which is lost revenue for us. So we've been addressing that as a warranty issue with the manufacturer, which is Mueller, and we've had additional discussions with them about this becoming a bigger problem that needed more assistance from them. So they offered to do advanced replacements. We told them recently that wasn't good enough. Advanced replacements isn't good enough. So we asked them to come down in person. We met with them in person. We made sure that they understood the gravity of the situation, how much this is affecting us, not only with lost revenue, but our lost all the additional costs of labor for replacements. And so they're exploring possibly moving to a different product. It appears that this is a defect of materials from the types of issues that we're having. They seem to be affected by the heat. And so according to them, they're not having this issue in other places. But that's regardless, they need to fix them. So the representative left here, we gave him 30 days to come up with a response as to what they're going to do. And we told them this is their chance to try to make it right. If not, we'll be exploring other.
So how much did we raise our fees last year? 8%?
That's right.
So, I mean, if we raise our fees 8%, and we're only up 1.9% this year, I mean, I think it's fair to assume, because this is the hottest summer I remember, dry summer in a long time, we're probably using 1.9% more. So we could be down like 10% in our sales on that. No, that's $400,000 we could be losing a month because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something out there that doesn't make sense. I mean, this number's 4.
Yeah.
To me, it could be $400,000 higher. It could be 10%.
Yeah, the only other mitigating factor would be the water restrictions that we've had for 12 months. When I did the forecast, when I forecasted these revenues, I didn't anticipate that we would have 12 straight months of water restrictions.
Do you think anybody does anything in a level 2 water restriction? I mean, I don't mean that facetious in that, like, seriously, I don't think about it. I don't know if anybody else is.
There is a portion of the population that does.
Small portion,
yeah.
might. I mean, guys, I didn't realize that it was such a serious issue till our budget meeting, and I don't know what we gotta do, but if we're bleeding 400,000, that's only 400,000 off of water, that doesn't include the wastewater, I mean.
And these are year-to-date figures, so this is not for the month. This
That's
is
not for the month.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
okay,
right.
so it's 400,000 for the year.
That's
With
right.
the wastewater, I mean, it could be
800 grand.
800,000, so I mean, that's everybody's hopes and wishes for the budget, right? When we sat in that meeting, that's a lot of money, so.
Yes. So
I would have a roundtable about anybody on the staff who has an idea how to go after this aggressively to do it.
I think there's a proposal coming up, the next agenda item for, do you recall the consumption and usage, of living is 4,000 for the 5/8 meter? So we're kind of looking into another avenue of making it more fair for everybody, but do the 2, 6, 8 meters also, but it's up to the board to decide on that one. There's a proposal that Eddie has, for the next couple of agenda items.
That just doesn't catch though the dead meters, right? That's what the issue is, dead meters. Do we have a way to electronically go in and see like, hey, these are all the meters right now that aren't moving, and then go check them?
yeah, we do that every time we bill. We are going account by account and analyzing the amount of water use. It is a challenge in our area because we have so many properties that are not occupied year-round. We have a lot of that are second homes, so that people come and go as they please. We have a lot of rental properties, so it's not always obvious that there is a problem, but we're constantly sending people out to check the meters if we think that there might be an issue. But yes, we do get notifications when there's zero consumption, and that goes part of our evaluation.
Thanks. Brian, you ever hear about this? It's like somebody installing something, like, we change out all the meters and X% of them go bad every month, and it's costing us a crap ton of money and lost revenue, and then the additional hit of expense. We'll fix it.
I mean, have I ever seen large-scale meter failure? I haven't seen it.
Does it seem like we have a large-scale meter failure? Yeah, I see some like heads nodding around here like, yeah, it's a problem.
What normally happens is that, personnel at the lady in the finance department, they have to calculate and estimate the usage from prior years to this year and use that as an example of charge.
I guess what I might ask the company to do, since they're putting smart meters, right, is can you guys come in and tell us every meter right now that's not running? Like,
That's my question.
Are
Like,
they able to deep dive into the data in ways that perhaps we're not able to? Like, okay, you got 250 people, and then we immediately go check those 250 accounts.
We do have the billing department that's been coordinating with them, trying to figure out whatever it is that's going on. We have a distribution department that's been working with them hand in hand, trying to figure it out. It's been a long process, and the best solution to date is going from those SSR meters to the MEAs. So they're doing something about it in regards to honoring the warranty. They're bringing us a different product. However, it's not a long-term fix, right? And that's the concern. As of recently, because of so much employee turnover with that company, it seems like we got through to somebody that can go back and take it to their team and see if they can come back with some sort of resolve that can help us out, right? So that's the one that Mr. Gomez and Eddie are talking about, that we're waiting to hear back from them to see what they can do. But we have been working with them, and they've gotten into the system, we've gotten into the system, and it's been a long process.
So like, when things start to fail, how like starts failing a little, and then suddenly you get a higher incidence of failure? Like, it just concerns me, like, it starts to grow exponentially in a way we can't handle it. So I don't know why they don't have one person down here looking at all the accounts and then 3 people running out to each place that might be suspicious about fixing it. I mean, I would be in favor of sending a demand letter like, this is the problem. We expect you to put staff on site immediately until the problem is totally fixed, because this is $1 million plus problem for us a year at this point.
Yeah, and that was a point that Noe brought up also, is 3 months ago, we told them we don't want this product anymore. If you're giving us warranty replacements with the same product, that's not good enough. So we had them switch from the digital register to a mechanical register so that we can stop the water losses. With a mechanical register, if there's they don't go dead, the water will still be recorded. So that's a stopgap measure. We understand that.
Does that allow us still to do our smart metering?
Yes,
on
it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because it still reads the mechanical register. But
That's right.
I mean, I don't see a reason not to. I would discuss it internally, but I would. When I see it, we're losing this much money. What are we waiting for? Do you want to keep losing more money, or should we immediately do something?
Well, I'm also surprised that, I know you said that you've talked with Mueller and they tell you there's no other problem anywhere else, but that's exactly what I would say if I was Mueller. So I mean, I don't know if, they've got to be putting product out everywhere. If Ford has a recall, it doesn't just affect the cars that are in the valley, right? So it's got to be, there should be some legwork that we can do to other districts to say, hey, here's the product we use. Are you using this product? And then they go, oh yeah, and ours failed. And then we can get a better grasp on it.
I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'm aligned with what's been discussed.
I mean, I would talk to Brian and discuss being more aggressive. It's not a $10,000 problem, it's $1 million annual problem, which is,
That's what we need to do.
I mean, everybody together, maybe you think they're great, no, they're handling it, but if it's like, no, man, we're really losing money and it's eating up our time. I mean, every time we're looking at this, it's something else we're not doing.
Do we know if there's anybody down in this area
That's what I was saying.
that's used them?
That use them. They did tell us a couple of cities here in the valley. I think there's 2 that use this product or something similar. Not yet. So this was just 2 days ago that we met with them.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, sorry. It's $100,000 a month plus expenses.
Yes.
Quickest way we can make $1 million is to get this problem solved. Do I have, I need a motion to approve the financial reports.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Donahue, second by Mr. Starkey, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 12, consider and discuss for possible approval of the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024.
So I'm just going to give a few highlights. So this budget proposal includes the capital equipment that's considered high priority and required by TCEQ. It has no new personnel, no new vehicles. Includes the 20% increase in property and windstorm insurance that we've seen. Includes increased health costs. It includes a move of our ERP software to the cloud. It also includes the first year payment, anticipated revenue bond that we spoke about that Texas Water Development Board will be meeting to approve tomorrow. And it also includes a 2% COLA for the employees.
This is the budget as laid out to the budget committee?
Yes, the only change was the anticipated revenue bond payment that wasn't included in the one that the committee saw. We had to make additional changes to cover that. It was $632,000 payment that we have to cover with that.
But we did not change the agreed upon.
All the other recommendations
Raises and
were
rate
as
increases
recommended.
and all
by
that.
the-
What's the
yes.
rate increase?
The rate increase is 6.95% plus an adjustment to the tiers.
So we discussed that, I'll just speak for the budget committee, to our other budget board members. We discussed a couple different options, some with no rate increases, some with a higher rate increase, some options with no COLA benefits, some COLA benefits, modest COLA benefits. So I feel like everybody kind of gave and took on this budget, and it was pretty fair. It's a 6.95% rate increase for the customers, but if you take this year and last year, I think we're still lower overall than what COLA will be overall for the country for those 2 years. So, when you talk about water, I mean, if COLA goes up 15% in 2 years, so is the cost of water. So, we're kind of right in line with that. And the fact that we can stick to that, I think it is good for everybody. So
I'm going to approve.
great.
Before we move on, we discussed, in addition to the rate increase, considering modifying the minimum usage amount. Did that take place
Yes,
as well?
that's the adjustment to the tiers.
And the other tier adjustment was the single meter
So
family home percentage adjustment?
We had to adjust it across the board.
Okay.
So it's approximately 20% adjustment lower on the tiers. And that's what was needed to give us the additional revenue to cover that anticipated revenue bond payment that we hope that the Water Development Board will approve.
Understood. So we were strategic about how we did this as well. So we didn't just raise the entire rate. Okay, motion to approve.
Motion made by
That'd be Starkey.
Mr. Bowder, second by Mr. Starkey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consider and discuss for possible approval of resolution amending Laguna Madre Water District rate schedules for water, wastewater, and raw water.
So this is the adjustment that we just spoke about, 6.95% increase on the rates, and then approximately 20% reduction of the tiers. So we feel this will be also help with our conservation efforts.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve made by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
3 people, motion carries. We're gonna hold out for Mr. Bowder to come back.
Where'd he go?
We're in the restroom, but when we're raising the rates, we should have everybody here approve or not approve. You guys don't mind? Yeah, exactly. Right, we're not letting Bowder out the hook that easy.
It's actually his idea. What?
You can always come back to it. We come back to it, great. Item 14, consider and discuss.
There he is.
Mr. Bowder, we just took a vote on the raising the rate for water, wastewater, and raw water. And
How do you guys feel about it?
it was 3 ayes and
4.
an aye from Mr. Bowder. So that's
Thank you.
just because it's a rate raise. We
Yeah.
should have to-
Yeah, thank you.
Item 14, consider and discuss for possible approval of liability and property insurance.
Members of the board, it's the time of the year that we need to renew our annual contracts. So we advertise and receive proposals for several items. The first one is the liability and property insurance. That one we are recommending board approval on a work contract for liability and property insurance to Texas Municipal League for $121,762.29.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey,
Second.
second by Mr. Bowder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 15, consider and discuss possible approval of workers' compensation insurance.
For this contract, we're recommending board approval on a work contract for workers' compensation insurance to Texas Mutual, Texas Insurance for $23,192.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey. Second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 16, consider and discuss for possible approval a 12-month supply of chemicals for the water plant, wastewater plant, collections, and lift station departments.
For the chemicals contract, we are recommending board approval and award the contracts to all lower bids. Compared with last year, it's 4.34% less.
Wow. So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 17, consider and discuss for possible approval, groundkeeping maintenance, all departments.
For this contract, staff is recommending board approval and award a 3-year contract beginning October 1st, 2023 until September 30th, 2026 for groundkeeping maintenance to MH Mowing Services for $46,680 a year.
It's one we had previously, correct? So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Bauer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider and discuss a possible approval of the annual contract for asphalt paving and repair projects.
For the asphalt, staff is recommending board approval and award the contract to G&T Paving for annual asphalt paving and repair services contract.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey, keeping our budget process moving, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 19, consider and discuss for possible approval to dispose of surplus material.
There are some material that is obsolete, damaged, or incomplete that we need to scrap. Take it out of the inventory.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey. Second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 20, consider and review expenditures from August 15th, 2023 to August 31st, 2023.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledged by Mr. Starkey, Mr. Donahue, and Mr. Bowder. We will take table.
No, continue. You have 2 items out of the 3 that we do need to visit.
Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Sorry.
Item
I wouldn't know
21.
what to do with the gavel, but I did read the whole agenda.
Here then?
Motion to remove it from the table, along with my bad joke for Dr. Lilon.
Okay,
Yeah, right.
we
There's-
need to discuss it. If you wanna figure out since,
We have
Motion
3
table
items
21,
though, don't
right?
we?
No, that's sir, you'll see that that's item 22 as opposed to 21, which is why I was confused by you kind of stepping
It's a good thing you have the
above
gavel.
yourself there, but that's all right.
So what are we doing there, table?
We'll table item 21.
correct.
Yeah, great. So now
My
let's
bad.
get on to item 22. Is there a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Donahue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're now in executive session. If consideration and action on executive session items. Item A, no action or table. We didn't discuss it. Item B, complaint. Item B as directed and item C as directed.
So make a motion to proceed as directed.
Somebody make a motion to proceed as directed.
Item B.
Motion by Mr. Donahue, second by Mr. Bowder to proceed as directed on the items discussed in executive session pertaining to items B and C. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent.
Motion to close.
Oh, wait. I have a motion to close. We're adjourned.
Awesome.